What's up everybody, Kier Gomes here, and welcome back. Thank you everybody for clicking on this video. You guys, we did it. My new deck with Luke Wadey, the Generation 1 playing cards, was successfully funded on Kickstarter in under 24 hours. Hence why I need the Red Bull. It is currently like 4:30 in the morning, and I am just so excited, you guys, about this deck. So in today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit more about the Generation 1 playing cards and about our Kickstarter campaign. I'm not going to be doing a full deck review because I definitely think that the finished version of this deck is just going to look so good that this prototype might not do it justice. So I'm not going to be reviewing it, but I will be rolling in some B-roll kind of as I go through the story. As well, I will be leaving a link in the description to the Kickstarter for the Generation 1 playing cards, so if you haven't picked any up yet, check out the link in the description and go get you some. All that and more coming up, but before we get into it, please do drop a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Without further ado, let's roll that intro and get you guys on your way.
Let's go.
So first of all, to those of you that have already backed the project, thank you so much for believing in this deck. I honestly, as you'll come to find out in today's story, I honestly could not have expected us to get here. This deck has a very interesting story behind it. It's way more than just a really nice design. So thank you to those of you that believe in the deck. Definitely thank you to those of you that have read the story in the campaign. In so many ways, the story is just as important as the deck. So let's talk about what went into the Generation 1 playing cards and how we got here today. Now a lot of you guys probably do not know this, but the Generation 1 deck did not start as a Generation 1 deck. It actually didn't really start as a collab deck at all. What happened was I was in between working on Slow Hands V1 and Slow Hands V2 with Nick. Like we had just maybe started rolling out, like putting on paper ideas for the V2, and at the time I wanted to do kind of a side deck, like a smaller deck that was more, I guess, like aesthetically based on my channel. So like with the pink and the blue lights and the teal colors and just the aesthetic, the retro vintage aesthetic of the channel. I wanted to put that into a deck for the people that come to my channel and instantly recognize the setup. I thought it'd be super cool, and of course, Luke being a good friend of mine, we had been waiting to collab on something for a really long time. But we also are really good friends, so we honestly didn't feel the need to rush it. We kind of just sat on the idea that eventually one day our time would come. There's a little bit of foreshadowing there for how we got to the slogan of the campaign. But anyway, what happened was I hit up Luke and I had this really standard basic idea for a deck to represent my channel. I wanted to put some pink and blue colors in there. I wanted it to look kind of retro, very like Miami Vice 1980s neon arcade type. So I go to Luke with the idea, we work together on a design, well, I should say I put my signature on the design that he came up with. And the deck looked really cool, I was super stoked on it. We even got to designing the Ace of Spades. Luke even whipped up some really nice 3D renders, and this is a deck that none of you have seen. Unless you're a Patreon. If you're a Patreon for Luke Wadey, you have seen this. And if you're not, go check it out. Anyway, so the deck that started off as something completely different, it was just going to be kind of a Kier Gomes like signature deck. Not really a signature deck, but just a deck for specifically this purpose for my YouTube channel. At that point, by the time we got the tuck box, by the time everything started coming together, I was really invested in working on Slow Hands V2 with Nick. So Luke and I decided we're just going to sit on the design, but there was one thing that I really wanted to see. I told Luke that I love the tuck box, but instead of saying first edition on the side, I wanted it to say Generation 1. It's basically the same as saying first edition, but it just sounds cooler, and to me it has more of that kind of 1980s retro synthwave vibe. So I was really stoked on just getting that on the side of the box. And then we kind of put the design down. I mentioned that I would come back to it, but a few months went by, and as that happened, I started to kind of lose touch with the idea of the deck. It started to feel kind of unnecessary, and I really love the design, but I just wasn't in a place where that was the project I wanted to work on. So again, Luke and I decided maybe our time is not now, but one thing really stood out to us. Looking at the design, and I probably put some images so you guys have seen it, the deck was very Kier Gomes, designed by Luke Wadey. I never really thought about it until this point, but I didn't want my first collaboration with my good friend Luke to be a me deck with his design on it. I wanted it to be something that was both of us represented completely equally on a deck, which also meant that the KGM playing cards turned into the Generation 1 playing cards. So I hit up Luke and I say, okay, what if we strip some of the design elements of the original design, we put more you in there and less me in there, we change the name of the deck from KGM playing cards to Generation 1, and we have a 50-50 collaboration deck. While Luke really did like the idea of collaborating on a deck, we actually spent a pretty good amount of time ironing out the official name of the deck, which is Generation 1. And as well, Luke was very insistent, if you know Luke, you know how he is, he was very insistent on not doing it the easy way. He wanted to completely redesign the deck with 50-50 elements of me and him. So at this point, we had the KGM playing cards kind of like already ready to go. We could have put that on Kickstarter kind of as is. Then it turned into some titleless, nameless idea of me and Luke working on a deck more equally, and then it turned into something completely different and honestly exceeded all of my expectations. So once I was able to convince Luke to work with me on a collaboration deck, as in a full collaboration deck, everything kind of went from there. We wanted to incorporate my kind of love for neons and bright lights and pinks and blues and that kind of retro wave aesthetic. We wanted to put that in with Luke's more technical and precise design language. I won't tell you how long it took Luke to come up with this design, but one thing that I will tell you is after the months and months and months and months we spent coming up with concepts, I think by the time we got here, it was instantaneous. We both knew, like, that is the one. Those are the colors, that's the one. And honestly, this turned out way, way different than what we originally planned. And I have to be honest, it turned out better than I could have ever expected. So with that story in mind, this really is the deck that was never supposed to happen, but that is gonna change everything because this is our first collaboration, definitely not our last. Now I think this Ace of Spades really speaks to Luke's kind of adaptation of my aesthetic. It looks very Luke weighty. This is a Luke weighty Ace of Spades for sure. If you guys know Luke's design, he can't resist typography where it applies, and it is so tastefully done on the Ace of Spades. It looks so sick. I will have to say this is my favorite Ace of Spades of any deck that I've done. It's gorgeous and I love it. So then here's what happened after we came up with this idea. So after we got the Generation 1 title kind of locked in, and Luke hit me with a few design options, we definitely knew this was the one we wanted to go with. Now we did recolor the hearts and diamonds to be that same magenta color that you see on the back, so you're gonna get those nice pink hearts and diamonds, and as well we've made one pip on every single card, have that paint splash, kind of, you know, paint spatter, I guess, inside of one of the pips. I think the faces are so important because if you have a really strong back design, you have to have a balance. There has to be something in the faces that's not too boring but isn't overly custom. It needs to be everything that a deck needs to be for that deck. Okay, let me try that again. It needs to be something that complements the design as much as possible, and it needs to be something that's equally as interesting as the back design. So my contribution to the court cards, where I wanted to put the Generation 1 logo like written in the middle, and of course I text that to Luke and he responds saying, I already did that. That's proof, I think, that this project was really at the right time, and that's where the slogan came from. So the campaign as it reads is Generation 1, our time is now. So our slogan is our time is now, and that is really literally just a nod to the fact that Luke and I have been working on the idea of doing a deck for a really long time, and we just knew that we couldn't rush it. We had to wait until the right thing came up and the right idea inspired us, and our time is now. And that's where it came from. Now, I know you guys, I know you like to match your outfit to your playing card, so we took care of you on that front. We made Generation 1 hats, which is amazing. If you know me, you know I absolutely cannot resist a good hat. This campaign seemed like the right one to do a little bit of merch, a little streetwear with the deck, especially considering that the colors are so strong and powerful. So if you guys are interested in getting your very own Generation 1 hat, all you need to do is go to the Kickstarter, add $40 to your pledge, buy some decks, add that 40 bucks, send me a little message, let me know you want a hat, and I'll throw it in there for you. Now as well, I know the community as well as the community knows me, and I know we love matching our decks to our t-shirts. So you can also get Generation 1 t-shirts as part of the campaign, and those are gonna be $30. A really nice design. You can get them in the teal, the neon teal colorway, or the neon magenta colorway. It's a really clean black shirt. Nice, crispy. It's actually the same as the shirt that I'm wearing right now. This is an elemental playing card shirt, but we are using the same provider, so it's a really quality, nice and durable shirt. It doesn't get all messed up in the washer. Honestly, it's all I would wear if I could. I might have to get the warehouse to send me some hats and shirts. So for those of you that have already backed the campaign, I have to say thank you so much. This deck means more to me than I could possibly explain. I didn't want to get into the full story in this video because I know these videos tend to run long, but we have typed up kind of our entire story on our Kickstarter, and if the deck isn't for you, I completely understand, but one thing I would say is you should still go read the story because, like I said, in so many ways the story is as important as the product. So if you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about what it took for us to get here, please go check out our Kickstarter. If you like the project, if you like the story, pick up a deck, or you can just support the campaign, pledge $1 if you can. Every little bit is huge for us, and as small creators, literally every dollar can be accounted for, and if I could, I would individually elbow bump every single one of you. So thank you so much. Luke, if you're watching this, my dude, we did it, we earned it, we deserve it. This deck is gonna be sick. Thank you so much. Alright guys, links are down below for everything, so if you haven't backed the project yet, we still do have a few weeks to go. Remember guys, the more money we can put towards this, the more we can do with upgrades, so we can get that nice matte tuck box with some foiling. Imagine this. Imagine this tuck box, but done in matte and foil and emboss. I would love to see that. I'm sure you guys would love to see that. And if you want to make that happen, you can always go pledge for more decks if you want to, or if you just want to show some support, the best thing you can do, of course, is just tell your friends and family about it. If you know anybody that's into playing cards, if you know anybody that's into design, if you know anybody that just appreciates a good story, you know, send them to the Kickstarter. Every little bit helps. Alright, so the link to the Kickstarter is down below, but you can also follow me on Instagram, or you can follow my playing card company, Slow Hands, on Instagram, or you can follow both. And of course, you can always browse around the channel, see if there's any other videos and content that you might like, and I would highly encourage all of you to check out Luke Wadey on Patreon. He's on Instagram as well, but if you guys want to get exclusive design content, trust me, it's really good. I personally am a customer. You should check out Luke's Patreon if you haven't already. Totally worth it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you so much for helping me fund the Generation 1 playing cards. All that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I know I will. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.